Candace, good to see you.
Hey
Hello,
Candace, how
good
you doing?
afternoon. Good to see you all. Hey, Marcus,
How you
thanks
doing
for
today?
letting us take over the second half of your class.
Yeah, no problem.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm back to remind you of who I am. I'm Candace Newman, the CEO and founder of Live Out Live. And I am excited to bring another very special guest to talk to you guys about production today. I know you guys have been talking with Marcus about production, but I think that it's a good idea for us to bring Steve Octave, producer Tave, to the floor to dive a little bit more deeper into how a producer do what they do, right? Steve is a really dope producer and a great friend, and I'm excited to have him share a little bit more about who he is and what he does. And drop any questions in the chat that you guys might have throughout this conversation so that you guys can connect with Steve directly. And I'm gonna ask Steve to take off mute and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about you, your journey, and a couple of artists that you work with currently.
Well, thank you for having me, first of all. It's such an honor. I'm really always here and grateful to give back and just to work with my people, my family, and just, always gain knowledge. So this is such a great opportunity for me to receive and to give. So thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited. Just a little bit about myself. My name's Steve Octave. I go by Tave, like wave. So I've been in the industry for a while, and what I've done really, I kind of just started from, like, they always start as the janitor, start at the very bottom, start from the ground up. And, I've worked in the industry for like 20 plus years. And what I did was start from the ground up. I know I wanted to be in music. I didn't know what part of music I wanted to be doing. I just wanted to be in it. And so I just was like, what door can I get through? And, I just ended up being able to be a musician first. And so that opened the door to me just being able to play for artists in general, like whether it started from church, but the door was my musical talent, right? So that's really what got me in the game. And so I just ran with that and got into every room I could get into. And, I just kind of like just started playing from church artists to all types of artists, from country to rock to gospel, R&B. But ultimately, it's about, me as a human and how what I bring to the table. I practice very, very hard to this day. I'm still nowhere near as good as I want to be in a few areas that I work in. So it's a constant learning trip. Once never get tired of learning. Learning is just the key, low key, like in whatever area you're in. Just be good and be great at what you can and keep studying and dive and dive and dive as much as you can. And also learn to balance and execute as well at the same time while it's still learning. And so I've been in positions where, I've always been pushed in the deep end. And I kind of get excited about being pushed in the deep end because, like, you never know what to expect, and that's the great thing. There's always something to learn in being pushed in the deep end, because you will swim. It's just how you learn how to swim. And so I've always just, like, just put myself in positions. And yeah, so I played for my first ever gig at 17 years old was for an artist from the UK. I'm sure you could tell I'm from England. My first ever artist, his name was Mark Morrison. And he had a song called Return of the Mac, which was quite a big song globally, actually, for a UK artist. And that was literally at 17, my very first call. I didn't even have a keyboard at the time. They rented me a keyboard. They taught me how to, program, because I didn't even know, like, I could play the keyboard, but I didn't know there was another level of actually learning how to program sounds to come out of the keyboard. And so for me to be in that environment, I needed to play the sound that was on the records. I needed to find and make that sound. Otherwise, they would just play the sound off the record, right? So there's so much that goes on in just like learning and grafting in this game. And so, from doing at 17, I was like, wow, I just got my first gig. And I was like, wow, maybe I can do this thing, like, for real. And then from there, just meeting people in the same game and just being around the right people and good people. And then you get put in different rooms because you're good. They know they're good if they put you in another room, so it's not going to put a bad tarnish their name. So you just always want to be in a good place, just as general. And then from there, just kept going. I was a keyboard player. I started playing for artists in the UK like All Saints, Blue, Atomic Kitten. Who else was there? There's Westlife, Rod Stewart, and just a bunch of like artists. And then just being around so much. When a lot of US artists would come to the UK, they'd be like, "We need a band," and labels or everyone would be like, "Well, Steve Octave, he puts bands together. He's a musician. You don't have to fly your guys over. He'll source it from where he is." And so then I got into just sourcing musicians and putting bands together, and so that was my live music side part of things. And then from there, I've always loved being a creative, so I always wanted to figure out not just how to make music, but the business of it at the same time, because it's okay making music, but you really have to understand how to make your money from music at the same time, and so especially if you want to do it full time, because there's a trap. You can be doing like your 9 to 5 and be exhausted by the time you finish your 9 to 5 and then do music, but your music's not going anywhere because you're doing your 9 to 5 and then you're just doing music and not learning the actual business behind it and how that can sustain you not even having to do a 9 to 5 through royalties and so on. So these are things that I've had to learn along the way. I didn't go to school per se, but my schooling was being in the environment and being in education and just listening to just goats around me or just people coming up too, like listening to their experiences and just not like just keeping my head on what I want to do. I just wanted to be open and just see where, like I said, I love music. So I wanted to see where music could take me instead of being like, I'm going to do this, I'm just going to do this. Like, because even as an artist producer, if I hadn't been an MD or if I hadn't been in some of these label meetings, if I hadn't been in a lot of different positions, my artistry would have been so much more difficult because I wouldn't have known about marketing. I wouldn't have known about branding. I wouldn't have known about all these things. All I would have known is I want to be an artist, but that's just not enough, So there's foundations and tiers and levels to everything in the game and outside of the game. It's not just about music. It's just a way of being. Like, because I also work in the health and wellness industry, and I'm applying my production skills of what I need to make a product in the CMOS world. So what I need in the CMOS world is a seller, is a buyer, is a this, but it's all a part of the production that I'm going to put out at the end of it. So production is a way of a lifestyle. Like you always have to find your right pieces to build a product. And so now I'm in my space of production. I know I've got musicians over here. I know I've got engineers over here that I had in the live world that I've transitioned into a studio world. And so like all of the pieces for me to have an end result as a product is there, not just me. I'm not specialized in engineering. I'm not specialized in a lot of areas, but I can tamper in them. But if I know who is, I will find those people and work with them for me to build the great product. So that's really my journey in terms of like how I got here. I got here through just trying opening new doors and just trying new things and be like, okay, cool, I've added that to my basket, and I'm gone over here and added just a bunch of different things. So that's really my story and why I'm here. And I'm in the studio right now in New York City. Like it's almost like living the dream, but the dream never stops. So because you get into new environments and you see new things and you be like, oh, maybe I can do that too now. So you have to get out of your comfort zone because it's so easy to get stuck and you see it, and I know that's not for me. I know growth is key, like I always want to learn. I'm learning a new door right now because I saw someone do something. I'm like, I can't do that in the door that I'm doing, and he did it so much quicker. So let me go and learn how to do it like that so I can do it quicker too, so then I'll learn 2 doors or 3 doors. And so when I'm in any studio, if I'm just taking a back seat and there's an engineer or someone walks out the room, it don't matter because I can just take over and we could just keep going, So it's like I'm my own backup system in environments that I've put myself into because I've learned how to do a lot of things. And so, yeah, I'm just, I'm here now spreading the good news and just, keeping our music industry strong in what we do.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for that. You said so many amazing things, well-rounded things, not only about production and your skill set there, but just about the entire business and navigating it. So I'm very happy that you touched on a lot of those other points because it's very holistic. It's not just
Yeah.
one thing or another. So it's really great that you touched on that. You're talking to a room full of aspiring producers,
Dope.
artists.
So
and people who want to be in position like you. So I have a few questions. I wanted to just, they touched on a number of topics, and I shared those topics with you prior to now in their course today. So I want to do a quick fire, rapid fire warm up with you before we dive into more technical questions about production and how you do what you do. Okay.
yeah, for sure, for
All
sure.
right. So here we go. Just give me your first instinctual answer of these. Okay.
Hmm.
Punch or loop?
Punch.
Headphones or studio monitors?
These are hard questions because
They're
like
either or.
I mean, on the go headphones.
Okay. One perfect take or comp it?
I like perfect takes.
Dope. Track first or melody first?
Freestyle first, track first.
Morning sessions or late nights?
I prefer morning sessions, not morning, like 11 o'clock morning, close to 12 morning.
So that's more like early afternoon.
Yeah, yeah, okay, early after.
Analog, analog flavor or digital workflow?
Analog all day.
Reverb or delay?
Verb.
Drums first or chords first?
Chords. I'm a musician, so I'll do chords first.
Reference track or no reference?
No reference.
Last one, 808s or live bass?
Live bass. I'm a bass player first. Come on. I'm a bass player. I got my bass is with me. For
Right
sure.
now, huh? Right
Right
with
now.
you.
Right now.
Right on. I really appreciate you going through some of those rapid fire questions.
Of
I
course.
you touched on a number of things regarding like personality, connections, relationships, and when it comes to the fluidity of music. But I want to ask, how important is emotional intelligence when it comes to producing?
I mean, ultimately, you're if you're producing, because okay, there's different ways of producing, right? You can produce a record that's already been made that's not yours, and you could just go with the flow and just make it, right? And just build the product. I tend to sway more from pulling from God and just pulling from whatever melodies are in my head and build production from there. So my emotional intelligence is being connected and really ultimately really tapping into what inspires me and what I'm influenced by. So I don't more so make music that's like, here, make this for me or make that for me. I'm from a place of like, I'm gonna sit by my laptop. How am I feeling right now? What is going on? If I'm with our artist, we'll have a conversation. We'll just have a conversation as humans because it's art that we're doing. We're not like robots, right? So we're gonna be having a conversation. We're gonna be like seeing how each other, just interact with each other. And then once it's time to get into it, the song is almost already there because what we've spoken about is what is going to be the point of what we're going to build. If it could be breakup, it could be happiness, it could be whatever it is, but our conversation is going to really build from what we do from there, especially if we haven't met each other before. If we do know each other, we're cool already. We can be vulnerable with each other because ultimately that is for me one of the biggest things. I have to be vulnerable in making music because I'm so passionate about it. Like I just want to do my best every single time. So whether I'm making a happy song or a sad song, a love song or whatever it is, I emotionally have to tap into it. Just like how I think actors, have to tap into a character. I feel like with me, I have to tap into the soul of music and what brings me joy. Like I'm from, like I said, a church background. So for me, make a joyful noise is a thing that I ooze in terms of if I play an instrument, if it doesn't bring me joy, then I don't want to do it. I'm going to keep doing it until it brings me joy, until when I press play, I'm happy. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, for me, I am my consistency, nobody else. Like I am only going to be doing what I do. Like when you hear a Timberland or a Pharrell record, you know it's him. They don't need a tag because they know it's them. And that's the era that I'm from. And so I don't have a tag. I just make music. And if you hear it and you know it's my style, then you know it's my style. But ultimately, being emotionally attached to your music is like a stamp that you did it. So it's very important to me.
Okay, so I mean, I have a couple of follow-up questions. What qualifies a collaborator or an artist that you'd want to work with? What is it about them that qualifies them to allow you to be in that vulnerable space and tap into that? And then my second question is about your identity. You mentioned not having a specific imprint, but kind of evolving. How do you protect your identity, and what's your sonic fingerprint while adapting to other artists or working with other artists? So it's
Okay.
really around working with other artists and collaborating.
Right. So okay, so like first question for sure, like I'm excited about artists and music and a lot of people. Like honestly, at this stage in my life, especially in my career right now, I'm really only like I'm happy to work by myself. And I'm happy to make music by myself and I'm happy to do stuff by myself, right? So because I feel like I'm evolving in real time. Like every time I get on my door, I'm practicing. I'm not going in there with like, oh, you know what? This is going to be the song or the like. It doesn't matter for me. It's that time and the effort that I'm putting in. And no matter what, every time I go on my door, I'm going to learn something new. So I'm just always in practice mode, like always trying to like be like, oh man, I just learned that last week. Let me see if I could throw that on here, and just always building, right? So that for me is like excellence for me is key. So when I look at and work with other artists, I'm low key or high key looking for excellence. And that's really all it is. And if I don't feel it and it's just not there, I low key, I'm probably not going to work with them. And that's just because I'd rather spend that time working by myself than working with someone that I just don't really 100% feel. You know, like I said, it's very emotional. And like there are people in this business, of course, like there's all types of people in this business. Some people are in it for the 9 to 5, just go in there, do what they do, and out. I'm not about that life. My life is about making music that I wish I made. And so I'm going to keep practicing and keep continuing to make music that when I hear it, I'll be like, man, I wish I made that. And I'll be like, yeah, I did make that because that was my intention. So my intention is just for me to always work with people that are reaching to be the best they can be. And once we can be like that, then we got something in common. You know, like it's not just anything. It's more like our intention is to be better one on for each other, but also when we're together, we can make a product that will also be awesome. That's a stamp for both of us too. So I mean, just to be honest, just making sure that the artists and producers or engineers or musicians that I work with, I just want them to really love what they do. Like I love what I do. Otherwise, we're just not wasting our time because like I have a really deep passion for what I do. Like I'm literally obsessed with it. That's how much it means, you know, like I'm literally obsessed with it. And I feel like my obsession with it took me out of bars. It took me out of situations that I'm just sitting there. It took me away from watching a lot of Netflix, basically. It took me away from doing a lot of stuff that, you know, I could be putting that time into my obsession. And obviously, it's with you know, I'm not fully obsessed that that's all I do. I still like have fun. I still, even though I find fun within my music, I still do other stuff. Like I go in nature and I sit by the beach sometimes so I can be still because I know how important balance is. I can be frazzled at some point, but I also have to understand that balance is so key. And so like sitting still and being able to see art in real time being made is also one of the things that I sit with my guitar sometimes by the beach and just watch the clouds go to the left or to the right or whichever way God wants it to go. And while he's creating, I'm creating. So it's like, that's the combination right there. We create together. So it's very, very like with the artists that I work with, most of the artists that I've worked with, that I have cuts with, we're kind of all on the same wave in terms of like, yo, we love old school, we love soul, we love R&B, like we love instrumentation, you know, like we love analog. Like, so we're a collective of people that like certain sonic. So that's what attracts me to work with other artists. That's question one, right?
Yes, yes. And
Okay.
then part two,
Can you give
how do
me
you
a,
protect your identity and your sonic fingerprint while adapting to working with other artists?
so, you know, here's the thing, right? I feel like once I've made something, it's already made, right? So it's done.
Mhm.
My protection is, and this is going to sound really crazy. Sorry, my headphones just came out. This is going to sound really crazy, but my protection is just not playing stuff before it's ready to be out. Like, I know my sound. Like I said, I'm a musician, so my instrumentation and the chords that I choose and stuff that I do is going to be different. So if I play it before it's out, somebody's gonna want to take that and use it or throw it in AI and make something of it, you know. So
Hmm.
how I usually protect my stuff is just not putting it out until it's out, you know. And the artists that I work with is very one on one. We don't want our music to be out until it's ready to be out. Like I don't want anyone to hear my demos. I don't want anyone to hear it until it's done. And that took time because obviously coming up, you have to be in a place where, look, I need everybody to hear my sound. I need everybody to do this. I need to make noise, right? And so there's nothing wrong with that, especially because, you know, as a creative, it's okay to just keep making music and letting people hear it and let people hear you get better and do more. But I think just for the stage that I'm at right now, the kind of music and the kind of intention in what we're building and some of the artists that we have on here, I can't play it really because we need to protect it until it comes out too. So I protect it by just, you know, not being so social with it and keeping it really within closed doors.
That's amazing. And that's a good tip and strategy for new producers. My next question is about mistakes that new producers make early on. First,
Yeah,
I want to say we can see and feel the passion that you have for what you do, and I love it because I'm equally
good,
passionate about what I do.
good. I love
So
it
it definitely shines through, and I'm happy to see it, and we're happy to hear it and have you here to share it with us.
for
But
sure.
my next question, before we jump into some technical questions about what they're learning this week, I wanted to ask, what are some mistakes do you see new producers make early on?
Um, I think a lot of, well, not a lot. I've seen some new producers take the easy way out. You know, just try and cut out, you know, some of the foundations sonically that you might need, or just a lot of people might just get a sound up and just use that sound and not use some of like the rares or the filters, or just kind of make it like even like Splice, for instance. Like I'd be hearing so many records that I'd be like, bro, the seven people made that same record on Splice, bro. Like, you're not even gonna chop it or do anything. You're just gonna. And so, like, for me, that makes me lose respect immediately. That's me. And God knows what. I mean, some of my other homies would be the same because we've spoken about it, right? So it's like, yo, these guys out here really just using slice music and just putting it out. And so
Hmm.
I could never do that. I might use a kick, I might use a snare, I might reverse some stuff and just resample stuff and just pull it through tape or just really mess it up, you know, just so it's unrecognizable ultimately. So I think really just putting in the work and putting in that extra mile and just making yours, whatever is yours, unique, and just not going along the same route as like most people. Be a 1%er, you know, like do extra, like really, like, because people hear the difference between like just foundation stuff and when something is really put the effort into. So I think really like just don't take the easy way out. Just really go into your sounds, like go into your sonics, like really get into like learning how to be the best at it, you know. So and you can't be the
Yeah.
best by cutting corners. Like you need these corners, like go into them and find out what it is, why the greats did it, you know, because they left the blueprint for us, and it's like some of us just don't want to go back and do it. But like that's why when you ask me about digital or analog, I'm analog all day. I understand digital and I love it. I love the capabilities, but where's my heart? My heart is on off the wall, Quincy, Michael. That's where my heart is, right? So when I hear that kick and snare, and even the mics that we use, like now, like I'm like, if I'm working with a big artist, there's certain mics that I'm going to have to use because I just know that this is going to give me exactly what I need. Like my favorite mic right now is the C800G. I just love that mic, especially for singers, because the clarity and everything. But these are things that I've had to learn along the way. Like I'll be like, what mic is that? You know, and I didn't think about mics before, you know. So I was just like, man, the compressors and like I'm still learning and I'm still so excited to be learning. You know what I'm saying? So like I go in all of these rooms and I see new gear and I'm like, what does that do? You know, so just learn the craft as much as you can. Like don't like even the fact that you guys are in a class right now, this is way more than I did and way more I had like the opportunity to even do. And I might join myself just to, you know, to get some lessons myself because you never stop. And when you do, you become stagnant, and stagnant water is just smells. You know what I'm saying? It's not good. So it's like you got to keep it moving and keep growing always. So yeah, don't cut corners.
I feel you. You said it earlier. Excellence, right? Excellence is what we should always strive for. It's what it belongs to us. It's not
Right.
you're not being excellent for the others, you're being excellent for yourself, and it's a
100.
reflection of who you are and how you move in this world, and that
100.
translate into your music. So,
Exactly.
yes, you said
Exactly.
it. You said it.
Exactly.
Okay, we are going to jump into a few technical questions, and then we're going to hit the chat for some questions from some of you students and young people. So please drop your questions in here
Okay,
that you want
don't
to
get too
ask
techie.
Tave because he's here to connect with you guys. He's here to answer your questions. So I'm gonna just ask a few other technical questions focused on the topics that they're learning. Um, what are your favorite comping techniques to build the best master take?
My favorite comping techniques. So I think I was just mentioning earlier, I'm just moving over to a new door. But Logic is what I was on for the most time. And so with comping with Logic, um, I usually I have an engineer to comp, but when I do comp, first of all, I I usually let the artist just sing it and sing and sing and sing, and I'll just keep recording and keep recording. And it also depends on the kind of level of the artist or musician or whatever like kind of audio I'm recording. But I tend to just record loop based wise, like just record the loop, and then move down, record the loop, move down, and then to the end of the song. And if the artist can sing it all the way down, then I'll also take that take as well. But usually what I do, I work in sections. So I'll do a verse first or a chorus, whatever section we start with, line it up, and then I'll just go through, bar by bar.
Dope, dope. Thank you for walking us through your technique. I know that every producer has their own approach, but it's always good to hear from experts who are actually doing it and hearing, how you do what you do.
For sure.
My next question is, what are your go-to habits for session cleanup? Any best practices for that students should adapt to?
Yeah, I would say clean up as you go along. It's just like how I like when I'm cooking, I'm washing up the dishes while I'm cooking. So when I'm done, there ain't nothing left to do. So I would just say, just clean up while you're doing it. Like you honestly, like I said, but practice, like once you keep practicing and practicing, it just becomes so quick before the artist is even ready. You're already cleaned, you've already done whatever you need to do. And it's like there's no all of that extra stuff at the end. You don't have to worry about it. Like if you do it in real time, just record, clean it, record, clean it, record. That is really the key to keeping your time as well. Like I said, practice. Like you get quicker and quicker at these things. Literally, like it becomes just your hands on the keyboards and like just doing hotkeys and going back. And so like keep doing that and it becomes so much easier. And then you just save so much time having to do stuff at the end when everybody's left. And then you're there having to work on it for 2 days because you can do it in real time. And then you don't even know if they're going to like it. So really it's good to do it so you know that they like whatever you're doing at the same time. And so it's there, the print is down and you have to send it after. And they're like, oh, I don't like that. Like, no, you'd be like, no, we did it together. So that's definitely the key, real time.
Dope, dope. Thank you for that technique. We're gonna just jump into a few questions in the chat so that you can
Sure.
connect with some of the young people and some of the students.
What's
But
up,
I see
young
a
people?
question from Marcus. Marcus is the instructor,
Uh-oh.
Hey,
Dave,
Tave, how you doing?
and
Nice to
Uh-oh.
meet you.
he
Nice to
has
meet you
been
too.
downloading the students week by week on amazing instruction. And so you're just coming in and adding a little bit more flavor and flair to
That's
what
your
he's
stuff.
already teaching them. But Marcus, I think you had a question?
Yeah. And actually, if I can throw a couple questions, if you don't mind, Candace,
Oh
Sure,
to
man.
of
Tave. So,
course.
so, so the first question, which I put in the chat, was you mentioned that you got excited about a new doll. You've mentioned it like 3 times now, but you haven't told us which one it is. So,
Oh,
what's the doll, and what excited you about it to move to it?
so Ableton is the door.
Nice.
And to be fair, when I was MDing, which is musical directing, in case students don't know, we had a Pro Tools engineer. They called him Pro Tools engineer, but they're not even using Pro Tools. They're using like Ableton or something else. But they're just engineers, right? Live engineers, and so like we were always using like 2 laptops. Ableton when I was on the live road. And so when I was like I would program everything in Logic and bounce it to stems and then give it to the operator and he would put it in Ableton. And just seeing how he was working in that world, I was just like, oh, okay, that's interesting, but I'm not ready to do it yet because that's going to take too much time. So I stuck with it then. And then like now in my production bag, I'm going into a lot of studio sessions and I'm seeing a lot of Ableton. And so just the way that it can manipulate audio and the way it warps, and just so much like little details that I just feel would help my workflow quicker than me doing it in Logic. And so that's really what made me transition over there. So yeah, I've literally shut down Logic since I've been using it.
Nice. And this next was not really a question, but it's just a comment to kind of echo what you mentioned. A couple weeks ago, I was talking to the students about, getting the stuff like, great or close to perfect at the beginning. And, we were talking about like channel strips, using channel strips. I think, a lot of the class here are, some of them are just getting into the recording, so they have just a mic and an interface. And, I was talking to them about like channel strips, using channel strips with EQs and compressors and, recording, like just getting the perfect mic for the artist and putting up several different mics, starting at your session to find that good mic, choose it with the artist so they like that microphone, and then record with that mic for that session, because now you've chosen that together. But I definitely appreciate that commentary, because it kind of echoes what I taught them earlier, and I just wanted to kind of remind everyone about the conversation that we had. But thank you.
Important. Super important,
and
sure.
And just my last thing, definitely looking forward for you applying for the classes for next season.
Yeah, come on.
Looking forward to seeing you there. Thank you.
You may just see me.
And answering all the questions, asking and answering all the questions, so that everyone can learn collectively as a team.
Let's go. That's right.
Yes. All right, really appreciate you, Marcus. Thank you for kicking off the questions. Let's get Samantha.
Hi. Sorry, I keep like turning off my camera. I have a bit of a headache, but yeah. So my question for you, when you are working with writers, what are things that you notice about the writers, whether it be like personality traits or like the way that they work? What are things that make you think like, I want to work with you again?
It's a great question. A vibe is number one, right? Vibe. If we just feel like we're on the same page and the same wave, that's a great set right there. But like excitement is important to me. Like when I'm working with artists, I really like bounce off of their excitement as well, like why they're in their room, what their why is, and like the more effort they put into it at the same time. Like a lot of the sessions that I'm in with writers, we're standing up and we're just like vibing, and we're just like talking about stuff, and we're really bouncing off of each other. And I think that for me as a writer, is so important, that you can bounce off, because it is collaborative, right? So like even whether I'm just making the music, but I'm still telling the part of the story, right? So it's like I can write a melody line in the music, and the artist songwriter may be like, oh yeah, I could jump on that melody line and we can put lyrics to that. Or they can do like this thing that I find Quincy does a lot, is he does like this question answer type thing, so it sounds like the lyrics and the parts are doing stuff, and then there'll be like a gap where they're not saying nothing, and the music part might just go da, 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 and then it will just bounce back off, and the artist will do so stuff like that. Just realizing like what like they like to do and how we can bounce off each other, for me is super important, and that's really what keeps me in the same studio with a lot of the same artists. Energy.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you. Mignon, it looks like you just had a comment. He is literally taking us to music church today. His energy.
Come on now.
Oh, you're on. Okay, you want to say hello?
Come on now.
No,
okay,
I don't really want to say anything.
Oh, you don't have to. I wasn't sure.
One. Oh.
The layers, the corners. Okay, just giving you lots of props.
Okay,
here.
yeah, thank you. I appreciate you.
And Christina.
Hi.
Yes. Hi.
Hey.
Hi, Tave. Thank you for hopping on with us and
of course.
Earlier today, you spoke about being in the 9 to 5 and being really, really exhausted. And I know that hit everybody, a lot of people on this call right in the chest. Right in the chest. Because every morning I wake up and it's like, I'm like, wow, you know what I would love to do right now? Take a smoothie and then go make some music. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we've been there, yeah, for sure. We know.
So what is a system that I could create, or that some musicians could create, to sort of get themselves to like emancipated from the 9 to 5 / music rat race, to fully being a musician full time, making money and being able to sustain themselves from the music? Like, what's a couple steps I could take daily? Or I know it's a big question, but
yeah, I mean, look, it's almost a trap being in a 9 to 5 and trying to be an artist at the same time. It's almost like,
I feel trapped.
yeah, because it's kind of low key like a trap, because it's like, if you don't do it, then you're not going to be in a good mental state, knowing that you're going to have all these bills to pay and you ain't got a way of paying them, right? So it's like, you have to pay your bills, but you want to do something else that you love, right? So I think for me, and I don't really fully recommend it, but like, I really took a chance and I really went into my broke bag. Like, I really was like, listen, at this stage, I'm either going to have to do this or try and do this, right? And that was me, like where I was at the state. And I was already like doing gigs. I was already like, you know, and I'm just talking from being a musician to being a producer. So like, I don't go on the road anymore. I don't do any of the live stuff. Well, I say that, but I still source bands. I still put bands together for artists. Like if they're in the UK and they need some bands over there, or if they're in New York or LA, I do K-pop as well. So it's just like, but that was built, right, over time. But the transition really, like, just so you know, it is not easy, right? It is not easy, but it is one of those things that you're gonna have to be like, yo, am I really, like, first of all, you want to set it up. Like you don't want to just stop your 9 to 5. You always want to have some income coming in somewhere, right? So even if you say, I'm going to go from the 5 day a week to like 2 day a week and then go ham, like say, take that 30% that you was putting in and now put in 75, you know what I'm saying? So you're doing 2 days a week. So you kind of have to do it like in baby steps, right? So like, cool. I might not be able to eat like, you know, fillets, and I might not be able to have the best meals right now. I might have to cut down my meals so I could pay my bills, but then I could get in the studio more and practice more and get better more, right? So like I was saying earlier, balance is so important, but you also have to be smart with it at the same time, right? So you're going to have to understand that it is mind frazzling, not just for you, but for every single one of us who has gone into something else that is not been a layup for us, that's had to work for it. And like, to be in the music industry, it takes a lot of work. Like, it takes more work. Honestly, like, it's because you're so passionate about it. If you notice, the things that you're passionate about tend to like make your emotions go up and down more. Like, if you didn't care about it, then, you know what I'm saying? But like with this, like, when I was doing my EP, I was doing 16-hour days, literally like 16 hours. I was in my room. I was doing like 5 ideas a day, because I knew at the end of it, like, even if these songs don't make it, their songs are still made, right? So they're still there. So like, even if it's not for my project, when I walk into a studio, I can press play, you know what I'm saying? So this is IP, I've got IP, and all I'm doing is building IP. So like, you really have to like try and balance, really. Like, if you're gonna say, okay, listen, I really want to do music full time, you're gonna have to, don't ask ChatGPT, right? Because it's just gonna give you some generic answer. But like, really think about things that you love, you know, like what can really like I said, the 2 day a week thing, and then like you could put the 3 days, like, but you're gonna have to be even more disciplined now, right? Because you're not seeing no bread, but you know the goal is to get it. The intention is to build it, right? So you really want to like just set your goals and meet them, and you would eventually, like, you start getting like placements, then you'll start receiving royalties. It might not be the biggest amount at first, but it's the start. Like the music thing, trust me, most artists don't break until 10 years into the game. That's just the fact. Like, there are 1 or 2 that make it through, like the Taylor Swifts, but look, you know what I'm saying? Who's their pops? They got leverage, right? So it's a different ball game for different people. And again, some people might want to invest in you, you know, and if they invest in you, then maybe you could be like, yo, I've got enough to say, okay, I can balance out this here and then work these 2 days. But really, ultimately, it's just finding balance. That's really what the key is in it. But it is frustrating, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's very, very difficult, but ultimately it's doable. And that's where you want to get to, the part where it's a reality, but you do have to put in that work, and you have to go through that, like we all did. The greats, like if you go back and look into some documentaries, a lot of our greats, nobody believed them, and a lot of people turned them down. And it doesn't just happen to the greats, it happens to us, the regulars, is at the same time to turn us into those greats, but it has to start somewhere.
Okay, thank you.
I hope that helped.
It really does. I'm thinking, okay, this is not the only thing I'm taking from what you said, but placements, think about those things.
Think about placements, yeah, definitely. Even if it's just not every, like, outlet wants full done songs. Some places just want instrumentals just for like TV. You know, there's so many different outlets like that you can chat GPT for sure. Like what kind of outlets can I send my music to for just instrumentals, you know? And like once it's out, once it gets played, you get paid. As long as you do the business behind it, register it, like whoever your PRO is, and just make sure, like I said, the creative is cool.
Placements pay more than streaming.
100%, 100%. So like I said, it is so important to get your business down too. The creative is cool. I promise you, it's really great. But there's no point being a broke creative and always being frazzled in your mind. Like it doesn't take much to learn the business for real. Like there's only a few things you need to learn: where to get your money, how to register, you know, and do them at the same time. Because once you've done them, like you can just put out your own music, and who knows, that a song could just break, and then you're getting streams, you're getting royalties on your own. No boss, you're the boss, you know. So there's ways, and you can start literally by within your 9 to 5. Like put some music out, just put it out, instrumentals, whatever. Like you got nothing to lose, you only got to gain. Actually, that's the thing, you really can only gain. One follower, one whatever it is, 1%. Just always aim towards up to that 1%.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do it. I believe in you. You're here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're here.
Very sound advice. Very sound advice. Thank you, Tay, for that. That resonated with all of us. The only one thing I will add is to make sure that you are cultivating meaningful relationships, because those relationships, that network, is what's going to help you vibrate higher in this industry, right?
100%.
So cultivating genuine, meaningful relationships, because those are the ones that's going to help you make the right connections when you do want to put your music out. So
100%.
Thank you, Candace.
Of course, of course. Okay. P. Boyd, let's hear from you. Let's hear your question to Tave.
Well, now my question's changed.
Okay, let's hear it. Let's hear from you.
But no, well, one of my questions was, have you found yourself in a position where you start to work with somebody and you find that their heart is not in it, like your heart is in it? Like, how do you know, like how certain artists, you know, they have writers and stuff for them, and they just go out there and they perform it, you know.
Right.
But there's really no soul behind the actual song or the creation. So, like, how do you have you come across that, and how did you deal with it?
I mean, look, at the end of the day, you're always going to come across people with different like characteristics and just ways of life and ways that they do things that might not match the way that you do it. But then, you know, as a professional, you know, your goal is to do the job and get the job done and do it at the best that you can do it. And so, yeah, sometimes it can be difficult if you're in a room with someone and they're not like putting, you know, their best in, or they just ain't got it. But ultimately you still got to do it, you know, and like, because it's your work, you're affiliated with it, it's you, not them. At the end of the day, you're still going to move on and do what you got to do, and it's only going to be a few hours or whatever it's going to be. So just put in like your best in every situation, and usually, honestly, I haven't had that much, because in every room I go in, I do put in my best, and it resonates. And so like, if we can cut the session short too, you know what I'm saying? Like, either way. But like for me, ultimately, my goal, my energy is up when I'm in the studio. When I'm in the studio, I'm in my playground, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm here to really get this thing done, even though it's work and this and that. But ultimately, this is like,
that's your home.
That's my home, right? So it's like, I'm in that space, and it's just like, yo, you might not want it, but I want it. And so here I am going to get it. And so 9 times out of 10, they usually step up and realize that, wow, okay, this guy. And I've done it too. I've gone into rooms on my way up and been like, oh, whatever. And I've seen like the levels of stuff, and I'd be like, oh no, I better get myself together, because this could be another opportunity. Because you don't want to miss out on opportunities, especially like in some of these rooms that you got. They might be a little bit off, but they might know somebody that, you know, again, relationships is so important. They might know somebody, and if you're off in that room and they're like, oh, he was so off or whatever, and it's like, no, that's not even you. Just be up and just do you. And so like, whatever people say about you is consistent. You know what I'm saying? Like, be consistent in what you do.
Thank you.
I appreciate you, man, for sure.
Don't let anyone teach you how to be who
Yeah,
you are. right?
That's right.
Stay consistent. I love that
Uh-huh.
advice. Let's see here. Who do we have? Mignon made a comment. I guess this is in reference to transitioning and balancing your schedule into working in music full time. That's what I do. I work 2 to 3 days a week as an actress here in LA and even as a sub for extra money to mix my songs. I write and record early mornings before I work. It fuels my day. Yes, my goal is placement sync. I write for film. I record using Logic Pro. Tave is dope. This is so inspiring. All right, we
That's
love
what's
to hear
up.
it,
That's
Mignon.
what's
Thank you
up.
so
You're
much for
doing the
sharing
right
that.
thing. You're doing the right thing for sure. Like make it's all about where you allocate your time. Like allocate your time. The timing is just so important because that's just you just don't get it back. Honestly, it just keeps it's going and it goes quicker and quicker. So like utilize it as much as you can.
Yeah, do you mind if I
Absolutely.
chime in on that too? So, everyone that's here, for Christina's question, right? You're here for a reason. You're passionate already. Like you wouldn't be here for 6 weeks with me, like listen to me rambling,
Right.
if you weren't passionate about it. And kind of building your way or that path to being full time in entertainment, right? Part of it is learning how to do some stuff yourself, right? Like being an artist or being in the music industry. A lot of times you are your own business, so you should be starting actual businesses and writing off things like the equipment that you're buying and stuff like that. But learning the tools and being able to get to that finished product faster, right? And it kind of goes back to what Tave said earlier and what I said a couple weeks ago, getting to that finished product earlier. Even if it's not the final thing and you're recording yourself, guess what? That's time that you didn't have to pay in a studio because studio time is expensive. Booking me is expensive. Booking somebody else is expensive, right? So if you can do a lot of that legwork ahead of time or whatever, like, I think, in one of the things I sent a link for some of the credits and things that I have. But there's an artist named Wayna that I worked with in the past where she recorded majority of her stuff. She had a lot of her production and stuff done, but she wanted to come record her lead vocals with me. And that's all she did was just record her lead vocals with me. But it saved her so much time. So we were able to knock out multiple songs just because she had backgrounds and stuff done. She did that at home. Like years before, like I set up a interface with her, channel strip and everything. She was recording it to Pro Tools with her interface. She had me come over there one day. She was like, hey, I need you to set up my home setup and let's get some settings. Let's dial in some settings that work for me. She recorded all her background vocals and a scratch lead vocal at home, and then she came in and recorded her lead vocals there. It literally saved her like $15,000 of studio time just by being able
Easy.
to do that. Use those type of tools to compensate not working right, or is being able to spend more time doing your music by figuring out where you can save money on doing some stuff ahead of time. So.
Yes. Thank you so much, Marcus, for adding a lot more color to it. I mean, I think the goal for all of us who are passionate about what we do in the music industry is to do it full time, right? And obviously to be able to make a living off of it. So that's great insight on how to maximize our time and spread it out so that we can really do the things that we love doing and contribute more to them and obviously be possibly paid for them. So I really appreciate that. Tave, we have a couple more questions here before we wrap up in the next 12 minutes, whenever you're ready.
I'm here. I'm here. Sorry, the studio, they're saying that they're closing out. They're giving me a bit more time. So
Okay, cool. We have 10 more minutes with you if that's
yeah,
cool.
that's cool. That's totally cool.
Okay. Christina had another question. Christina, come on, girl, because you have some good questions. Let's hear from you.
Okay, so I wanted to know. Okay, so you know how like when you have your job, right? They give you a whole job description. You know exactly what you're doing minute by minute. But when you move into your own business as a musician, you have to run everything by yourself, right?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, what does a schedule for a successful full-time music artist look like? And what does your schedule look like?
Yeah. I mean, for me, I've got like myself first. I spend time with myself before I do anything in the day. So that's me time. And that would be like what, meditation or gym or whatever it is, just stuff for myself. Like that is super important for me. And then usually I do like 9 to 12 with like just meetings or calls and admin or whatever it's going to be. And then usually from like 12 to 8 to 10 to 12 or to whatever I'm in the studio creating. So I usually like leave, like 4 hours for myself to do admin or to run to the store or do whatever I got to do. But I always try to be at my desk by 1 o'clock till like 8, 9, depending. That's my day to day in my studio. It all changes. Like I'm in New York now, and the studio closes at 7 or whatever. So it's like different. It can change quite a bit. But for myself, I definitely have like those 3 main things: myself, admin stuff, and all of that, and then creative.
How long is your self time in the morning?
My self time's about 2 hours, 3 hours.
And then admin. So from like 7 to 9 self time.
Yeah, from like 6 to 9, 6 to 8:39 is just me time, like just meditation, listening, and just being still. To me, that's important. That's how I hear most of my songs and melodies come from me being still, not even me just sitting on the instrument. It's just me being open and being clear and being in tune with how I feel or what's being sent to me and how I download it. And so all of that for me is still time, and so it's very important. So I always have it in the mornings.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Candace, could you answer this question too, please? And or Marcus? Please.
Sure. I split my time up into portions. 8 hours of hard work every single day, whatever that looks like. That's contributing to my passion and my hard work and something that's going to generate income or revenue. And then the other 8 hours of sleep, as much of sleep as I can, right? Give or take. And then the other 7 to 8 hours are broken up into my health and my hobbies and my hygiene. So things that kind of center around my personal health and wellness. And then another 2 to 3 hours to center around running errands, doing something that it fulfills my hobby, doing something like meditation and that's spiritual every single day. So I wake up with the things for myself first, and then I get into the 8 hours of hard work, because a lot of the hard work means that I'm contributing to other spaces and I'm giving a lot of myself to other places and things and people. So, but 8 hours of hard work every single day to contribute to my business, because I own and operate my own business in the music industry.
Right.
Marcus?
Thank you.
Yeah. So for me, I have probably a little different angle because I do have a 9 to 5. So, but it's within the entertainment industry, right? So, one of my key advices is that if you can't get away from the 9 to 5, get into a 9 to 5 that is more aligned with what you're doing. So, my main 9 to 5, I work for Warner Brothers Discovery. I'm the senior director of global project engineering. So I'm designing all of their studios, broadcast systems, production control rooms. So everything from like TNT Sports to CNN, whatever, any of that stuff. Like you've probably seen my work without seeing my work is what I'm saying. But that's a very demanding job, right? So, up until this class today, right? I'm on the East Coast. So at 5 o'clock, I was walking out of one meeting and hopping into this one. So that a lot of time is definitely focused around that. I do have 2 kids as well. So, my son's a junior in high school. My daughter's in her freshman year of college over at University of Maryland. So, spending a lot of time with them as well. As far as music, I wish I could actually have more time to do music. But I'm probably I would say I spend about 16 hours maybe just focused on just music stuff. And other times if I do get a break, sometimes I'm here in the studio or at another studio collaborating with someone, but I'm still aligned in the entertainment industry, doing, lessons like the industry 101 type stuff here. But I still maintain my full-time business. I get, placements for Sync Film and TV. So that allows some royalties still to come in. I have artists that I've worked with, so those royalties aren't as great, but they are, that's kind of why I made the comment saying that, sync licensing, pays more because I can land a placement in a TV show and that airs multiple times and I'll get more money on that than some of the records that I've done with independent artists, so sometimes the working with some of the artists sometimes may be the slower path to getting those royalties, because sometimes, you can put out a record and it may blow up like, 5-10 years later, you know, after you put it out. But you have to make sure that you know, the proper credits are in line, that you're signed up with your performers' right organization, whether that's like ASCAP, BMI, or SASEC, or you know, whatever performer rights organization that's in your country. But just continue to do work. Just put out stuff. Don't be afraid to put out stuff. You know, especially for the folks that are focusing on being artists and you're a producer and you're producing things. You're not going to always produce things that you like, or it may not be a perfect song for an artist, but it might be a perfect song for a sync placement. You know, so there's opportunity in almost everything you do. So don't treat everything you do as like a waste of time, right? Utilize that, recycle it, and turn that into some form of income coming in, you know?
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
All very, very, very good advice. Thank you so much, Marcus. And so as you guys see, 3 different perspectives. I also worked in corporate America, but I got off that rat race. I worked at Live Nation. I wasn't working in live music, but I got off the live music rat race because I was doing it for someone else. And again, it was tough, right? Been in traffic and all of the things. So now I am fortunate enough, like Tave, in order able to do what we love. And although it's not easy, but like I mentioned before in another talk, if you want consistent income, obviously you can work for someone else. But if you want more and you want to bet on yourself, you can make a whole lot more doing what you love, working in the music industry. So, but it's a process, it's a journey. And we didn't just get here overnight. And you won't be able to either. Sorry, unfortunately. But we're gonna kick it back to Tave. I just want to remind you all that in the chat, there are some links to Live Out Live Foundation, a little bit more about the organization that I work with and work for, and that I founded, as well as a survey in the chat, a form in the chat talking about these industry session speakers. And if you guys enjoy them, we can continue to bring them back around for you guys. So be sure to click on the links in the chat whenever you guys get a quick moment before we close out. But I want to go back to Tave. We don't have any other questions. Oh, someone did ask a question. Emma, earlier you mentioned the importance of going into your sound and sonic signature. What advice do you have for early producers and musicians to dive into this?
Oh man. For me, I basically learn from what I love. So I would find out a lot of, not that I would get the gear in terms of like what they have, but there's VSTs and stuff out there now, right? So like there's certain synths that I love, like Roland, like the Phantom, and this is a bunch of keyboards that I like, and a lot of producers and artists that I admire, like they use a lot of the synths and sounds and stuff that I use. So that's really how I got my sonic. It was about spacing and time and just placement and all of that. So it's one of those things, again, it takes practice, right? So you find out the artist that you love, you work, you listen. Really, like listening is so important. I think a lot of people don't really realize how important listening is, like not just hearing, because hearing and listening are 2 totally different things. Listening is like doing a deep dive into something, like really sonically listening to what they've done, what they've changed, or if it's even like a guitar, did they put like a little crunch on it, like a little, like these are little details that you have to like really like start picking out, like very intentionally, like listening to something and then trying it yourself and see how you can adapt it. That's because being influenced is so important. But like we're all inspired by something, and so what we are inspired for, we can also learn how they got it or how they done it. So like learning and listening is really so important for you to start learning how to output your own sonics and spacing, so like, oh, that's how they did it, but this is how I'm gonna do it. So you don't want to, you never want to copy fully. You always want to be inspired by and then use your own outlet, and that's the beauty. That's the beauty of being an individual, right? You can pull from so many different inspirations, and you can be the vessel for that one sound that comes out that nobody else would have, because nobody's going to have exactly the same taste as you or listen to exactly the same things as you, right? So you are always going to be unique, and you should believe in that uniqueness, because especially if it's a lot of popular stuff that you listen to, if everybody like listens to this kind of stuff and you like it too, and then you have your own outlet of things that you can just put together and compile and put out as yourself, not like out as in like released, I mean literally from your soul to your computer, right? So if you can do that, it's going to be one of one. right? Because only you can do it. So that's really what I would say. Practice being one of one, practice picking and learning and placement. And like just, when you press it back, you'd be like, oh yeah, that's what I was trying to do. Get to that place where you can do it. And it happens. Believe me, I'm telling you because I'm doing it from practice. And now, I have my go-tos, like maybe the way that I play an instrument, maybe the way that I would like hear a vocal, like now I have my way of being like, oh, I hear it like this. And that's the excitement that I will bring to it. So yeah, I think practice and listening is so key, guys. It's so, so, so key.
Thank you, Tave. You guys, can you show him some love, please?
Come
Let him know
on.
that we appreciate
Of
him.
course, of course. I felt it.
Awesome.
I
We
felt
do.
it for
And I
sure.
also dropped Tave's information on IG in case you guys want to follow him and connect with him and
Please
drop in his
do.
DMs and ask him any more questions about
Yeah.
how to transition into a successful musician or artist or producer.
Ask me
I'm sure he
anything.
has a lot more key insight on that.
Of course, yeah. Please, guys, please hit me up. I'm on IG all the time, so just hit me up. Any questions you have, like, check out my music too. I just released the project in August. Sorry, it's my first EP. It's got like 8 songs on it, with a lot of R&B and soul. It has Eric Bellinger on there, Music Soul Child, Mali Music, and a bunch of like dope artists that I've been blessed enough to work with. So, that was me stepping out of my comfort zone and being like, yo, I want to put out a project and I'm going to be the executive of my own work. And so, like, once you can get into that place, you will be your own boss. You know what I'm saying? Be your own, like, you don't have to be your own boss straight away, but learn how to do it. Like, I had to learn how to deliver a product to my label and be like, yeah, this is me, right? This is like my vibrational journal of my personal life, right? So that's how my EP dropped. And I don't usually say dropped, I say released because I've released it into the world. And so now it's released. It's always going to be out there, whether I'm here or not, And so that's really what the goal is for me. Like, just release, like, give birth to your music. Let other people, like, it doesn't have to be the best it needs to be. Like, just be a practice. It's okay to see people you coming up from zero to wherever you go up to. It's okay. Like, just do it. That's ultimately it. Just get it done. Like, there's nothing to lose. So, guys, I'm proud that you guys are all there learning. I think that's a great step. Continue to keep learning because this game is all about growth. Like, we never stop learning. So I'm so appreciative to be here with you guys for sure. And thank you, Candice, for inviting me.
Of course, we appreciate you, Tave. Thank you for what you do. You guys check him out, connect. Tave is a dope, dope producer, worked with some incredible people. You guys will discover that. And we really, really appreciate you and your time. And
Anytime.
I'm so grateful that you guys allowed us, Marcus, thank you, and Skylar for crashing this class and bringing
Thank you.
Tave to
Yes,
drop some
appreciate you.
gems.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks for having you guys.
Thank you, Tave and Candace. Thank you so much for curating these sessions. They have been very informative, insightful, and inspiring. So, Tave, it was great hearing your story. And
Thank you.
for everyone here, this is our last day that we'll have a guest professional. So for the last couple of weeks, we'll be all instruction. So can we give Candace a round of applause for just all the work she's done to put this together? We will be back in the spring, and we'll announce the spring industry sessions towards the end of this one. But Candace, thank you again. Marcus, thank you as always, and we will see you all next week.
Thanks, Skylar.
Awesome.
See you soon. Bye,
Take care,
everyone.
guys. Thank you.